So, check this out, people. Let's talk trades, right? I notice that when I go on YouTube now, I see all of these thumbnails and all of these titles on people's YouTube videos. Trades is back. Now, Trades posted a video that had nothing to do with AMC. Nothing at all. Nothing that he was talking about suggested that he's back. But because these scumbags who try to manipulate their novice investors who watch them, they always need a new stick, right? They need a new scam, a new way to attract or distract those who follow them, right? And so they have to sensationalize things, right, for their viewers. Because if you post a video and in your thumbnail or title you put Trades is back, people are going to click on it, right? And that's what they depend on. These scumbags who have been lying to the masses concerning AMC. And a lot of them, GME, who are now on the GME train, right? Because they only jump on the train of the stock that's trending. And when the stock isn't trending, they jump off when the stock isn't trending, right? Because these people aren't real investors, or rather real investors or traders. These people are everyday kids, everyday men and women who go to work, who go to school, who don't know anything about the market, who watch other YouTubers for their information, and then they regurgitate the information they got from the YouTubers that they follow, and then they post their information as if though they went and did the research, right? And so they use these names of people who once were popular, like Roaring Kitty, because Roaring Kitty isn't back. Roaring Kitty was never coming back. He was just using those who follow him as a stepping stool to become richer than what he became when he used those same people as stepping stools in the original squeeze. And Trades isn't back. Trades cannot come back. I mean, who's going to follow him now? Who's going to follow Trades if he jumps back on the AMC wagon or the GME wagon? Those same people who he lied to and sold. And so Trades made a video that had nothing to do with AMC, right? And I read the comments. And what I respect about those people who left comments, they didn't sweat him about AMC, because this had nothing to do with AMC, nothing at all. And so I'm going to stick with the subject, but the reason why I'm mentioning AMC is because I'm one of the original people from the beginning, since I've created my channel, who said that Trades was lying. Review Dark. I mentioned all of these people. Lou versus Wall Street, Rico, TMI, Short the VIX, Meet Kevin. I mentioned all of these people from the beginning that they were lying to you, right? But what you people need to understand, especially these grown-ass men in their 40s who were watching Trades, who at the time was 23 years old. And if you're in your 40s and you're paying bills and you have a mortgage and you have a wife and you have children and you're listening to a little boy on YouTube tell you that something is going to happen to the stock, to a certain stock, and that you're going to become rich and you lose your money, you deserve to lose your money. You deserve to lose your money, because I'm a grown-ass man and I'll be damned if I'm going to watch and listen to Mikey's Money, who's right now 20 years old, who's 3 years younger than what Trades was when he first came on the scene. And if you're grown and you want to disrespect a boy, because Trades is younger than my youngest daughter. He's younger than my youngest daughter. So why the fuck would I be watching a little boy whose car insurance is 3 times what I pay, because the insurance companies don't trust a 25-year-old, let alone a 23-year-old driving a car. And yet I'm going to trust him with my money. I'm going to trust him giving me advice on the stock market. And then when I lose my money, I want to disrespect him, right? Like these YouTubers who go on YouTube and cry like little girls because their wives left them, right? Because they can't afford to pay their bills, right? Because they dedicated their life to Ryan Cohen, to YouTube, to GME, and they go on YouTube crying, and they want people to have pity for them, right? And stroke them. Yet, when Trace Trades comes along, and he does the exact same thing, the same man who was just crying a few days ago wants to disrespect Trace Trades because he has no empathy. You understand what I'm saying, people? Do you see the hypocrisy of these YouTubers? Of these same people who pump stocks, and then they want to disrespect someone else, a kid, because Trace Trades is a boy. He's not a boy now. He's on his way to manhood. And the reason why his life is what it is today is because apparently, from what I can see, he doesn't have a father in his life. He doesn't have a man to teach him how to handle his finances, how to deal with life, to give him advice on everyday things that a father does for his children. And then you got these grown-ass men going on YouTube and disrespecting him because he's on YouTube today, telling young kids and other people not to make the same mistakes that he made because he regrets it. See, he's man enough to say that he fucked up, that he regrets it, and that he wishes he could change things. And if he could, he'd go back and do it. And then you have these YouTubers who pump GME, go on his channel, watch the video, and then make their own video disrespecting Trace Trades when they were just doing the same thing 2 or 3 days ago. The exact same thing, crying, because their wife left them. You see the nonsense of these people? You see why it's hard to respect these grown-ass men who have no empathy, yet they want you to stroke them when they're down and out? Because people like these are either bipolar, narcissists, who want to be noticed, who want to be loved, but they don't want to give the love. They only about themselves and those who approve of them. And so Trace Trades is a child. He is a boy. He may be 27 years old, but he is a boy who has no experience in life, who had no business being on YouTube promoting stocks. But he did what everybody else was doing in order to make his money. And if you followed him and lost your money, it's on you. Because I watched Trace Trades. I watched the Review Dork, TMI, The Ape Father, Teddy Zane, Review Dork, Me Kevin, Rico. I watched them all. Frankie Muhammad, John Wick Sniping, Lord X Nemesis, the original apes, those who were there from the beginning, before, during, and after AMC squeezed. I didn't lose money. I didn't lose money by watching these guys because I didn't listen to them. I simply watched to hear what the information was at the time and what it was they were saying. I was bending with the trend, but yet I was watching the market and watching the stock. And when the stock spiked, I took my money. Because what, 1,000% ain't enough? 1,000% ain't enough for you greedy motherfuckers? I mean, the fact that you lost it all on AMC and you want to blame Trace Trades, you want to blame Meet Kevin, you want to blame these guys who you had no business listening to and you're still listening to today, because what happens is that you people jump from one YouTuber to another. That's what you do. It's not enough that you lost it all. Now let me go on to the next guy. Let me move on to the guy who's pumping GME and see where we go from there. Because the majority of you who are watching this GME pumper didn't take advantage of the spike in GME 2 months ago. And if you had taken advantage of it when it went up to some 80 something dollars, got your money, took your profits, and then jumped in today when the stock tanked, you would have made even more money. But because you're greedy and you want to go to the moon on a rocket that's never going to take off, you want to blame market makers, hedge funds, Citadel, Ken Griffin, Adam Aaron, Trace Trades. Trace Trades is a kid. And if he's on YouTube today because he's broken, because he regrets his decisions and he's man enough to make a video and say that he messed up and that he wishes he could go back, you should have the same respect that you want others to have for you, because you are in your 40s, you're making videos, going on YouTube crying because your wife left you. But when another man, a kid, a child who's young enough to be your son does the same, you want to make fun of him, and then you wonder why your life is what it is. You wonder why. And the funny thing about it, people who are happy and who are joyful don't talk about how good God is. These are two-faced hypocrites who only call on God and say God is good when their life is fucked up, when they make stupid decisions, bad choices, and then say that everything happens for a reason. Yeah, everything does happen for a reason. And the reason why your life is fucked up is because you made poor choices, stupid decisions in your life. And then you want to say, well, this happened for a reason. It's because God is trying to tell me something. God is trying to tell you that you need to grow the fuck up. That's what he's telling you. And to stop making fun of little boys who are young enough to be your son because they're broken, because they're tired, because they're sad, because they're depressed, because they don't have a man in their life to teach them how to be a man. And you are old enough to be his father, who was just crying like a little pussy 2 or 3 days ago, and now you want to make a video about Trace Trades, calling him out, saying how you don't care that he's crying. But yet you're crying like a little pussy. You see the difference? And you see the reason why you will never grow? You don't take advice. You don't have empathy for others. And then yet you believe that God looks down on you while he doesn't look down on anyone else. The only one he sees is you, right? And so I wanted to make this video to say that I've always called out Trace Trades. Anyone who watches me knows that I called out Trace Trades as a scammer, as someone who was taking advantage of retail investors, of someone who was telling people to hold while he was selling behind their backs. But what's going on with Trace Trades today has nothing to do with GME yesterday. And the fact that he's going through what he's going through today has nothing to do with GME yesterday. Trace Trades is a kid, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm old enough to be his father 4 times over, because my youngest is older than him. And anyone who's a grown-ass man with children of his own, who's paying a mortgage, who's married, who has responsibilities, and lost their money because of Trace Trades, you deserve it. You think I'm going to take advice from my 19-year-old, my 23-year-old boy, when he can't even afford car insurance? Hell, my daughter, my youngest daughter, I pay for her car insurance, because if she has to pay for it, she's going to pay 3 times what I pay. So still today, I'm paying for her car insurance up until she's at least 25. And so Trace Trades started on YouTube when he was 23 years old. And if you took his advice on AMC and you lost your house, and you lost your wife, like some GME pumpers have lost everything because they would rather promote, pump, and dedicate their lives to YouTube, GME and Ryan Cohen, then you deserve it. You deserve it. Because what grown-ass man gets on YouTube, types in Mikey's money, and then starts to watch a 19-year-old little boy, or 20 now, who lives with his mother, who doesn't pay bills, who doesn't have any responsibility, who doesn't pay rent, watches him for stock market advice. And then you want to disrespect Trace today when his message had nothing to do with AMC. Nothing at all. Whatever Trace put out today in his last video was about a totally different topic. And the problem with people is that they don't stick to the subject. They don't stick to the topic. And when you disrespect them for being lowlifes, for being assholes, for being dicks, while they're pumping GME, then they want to act like they're better than you. Then they want to make videos saying that I put them down or I destroy them. I did tell you I would humiliate you. See, I stick to the subject. I stick to the subject, and that's what you need to do. And then maybe you should treat him like you do your own son, because if a man talks to your son the way you spoke about Trace, you're not going to like it. How about you give Trace some advice? Because you didn't lose money on AMC. And if you didn't lose money on AMC because you knew better, rather than disrespecting a young boy who's suffering today, who has no leadership, no guidance, how about you be an example to him and say, hey, I understand, Trey. I understand that you don't have someone to teach you, to guide you, to talk to you. And so I'm going to give you some advice. And this is the problem that I have with these scumbags on YouTube who think that they're better than everybody, who think that they know the answers, that they have the answers to everything. And they're the main reason why many people have lost money. You see, Trace has an excuse. And I'm not condoning what he did. I'm not condoning it. But the fact is that he was a boy with no experience. He did what any kid his age would do to make it. That's what he did. And if you're in your 40s and you're doing the exact same thing Trace did and was doing, then why are you disrespecting the kid? Why are you disrespecting him? He didn't come back talking about AMC. He didn't come back pumping stocks. He came back simply to give the people who watch him, who know him, advice. He fucked up. He made a mistake. You're a grown-ass man with children of your own. Have the courtesy to look at him in the same way you want a grown-ass man to look at your child. And when you're not here, hope that someday your son could have someone to guide him and teach him. Not someone who's sleeping with your wife today, but just a mentor, like a teacher, a friend, a neighbor, a YouTuber. And this is the problem I have with these assholes on YouTube who think they are better than everybody they talk to. They have no respect, no empathy, no nothing for anyone, because they swear they are better than everybody. Hope to God that your son doesn't make the same mistakes that Trace made. Hope to God that if he does make those mistakes, that there are men out there that can guide him and help him. And I'm not talking about just a father. Because when I was growing up as a kid, all of the grown-ups knew how to give the boys advice. Because a father can't cover all the bases. And so hope to God that your son, when he grows up, can attach himself to grown people who can be an example to him. And that he doesn't fuck up the way Trace fucked up. Because you're a grown-ass man who just lost his wife, who was just crying like a little pussy. And now Trace Trades is on YouTube doing the same thing you did, crying because he lost the woman he loves. There's an excuse for him. He's a boy. There's no excuse for you. You're in your 40s. A grown-ass man who lost his wife because you decided to follow a man rather than follow your wife. To dedicate yourself to YouTube rather than dedicating yourself to your wife and your family. You see the difference? So before you talk shit about a boy who's young enough to be your son, you need to grow the fuck up. Get off YouTube, but you can't because that's your career. You see the difference between real men and these hypocrites, these two-faced hypocrites who put everybody down, yet they're no different. They're only better when their life is better. They're only better when good things are happening to them. They're only better when their wives are home, when their children are home, when the wife is there to pay half the bills. That's when they're smiling, talking about how good their life is, how good their wife is, how much better their life is than everyone else. And then when they find themselves in the same position as Trace Trades, they want to go on YouTube and cry. And then they want you to say, oh, it's okay. I know you're a grown man, but it's okay to cry. And yet when a little boy does it, they want to make fun of them. This is why their life will never get better. They may tell you they're better than you. They may tell you they live better than you. They may tell you their wife is better than your wife. But in the end, behind closed doors, they're crying. Most of them, some of them, are crying on YouTube. You see, when a man cries on YouTube, a grown man, it means that there's no one to lean on. And if a grown man doesn't have anybody to lean on, that means he's made poor choices in his life. And there's no excuse for that. When a boy goes on YouTube and he cries, it simply means that he has no one there to guide him. No one there. He's never had anyone there to guide him through life, to teach him, a father, a mentor. And so he has a good excuse for going on YouTube and trying to relieve himself of that pain. I understand that when it comes to Trace Trades. I get it. But when you're a grown man and you're still doing that, and yet you're miking a boy like Trace Trades, and then it's no wonder your life. It's no wonder why you have to go on YouTube and cry. You can't cry to your brother. You can't cry to your mother, your father, your wife, your children, your neighbors, your friends. Nobody likes you. You see the difference? And this is why I make the videos that I make. This is why I say the things I say, because if I don't say it, ain't nobody else gonna say it, because don't nobody talk on YouTube the way I talk. You see the difference between these YouTubers? They make YouTube their livelihood. It's only a matter of time before my channel gets banned, before I get shut down. See, YouTube doesn't pay me. They don't pay me on this channel. You know why they don't pay me? Because of the things I say, the way I say them, the way I talk. And that's the difference between a real man who's giving real advice as opposed to a punk who needs YouTube, who needs it because his job can't support him. So they need YouTube as a career to make that extra money. That extra $100, $200 a month that YouTube pays them so that they can pay the electric bill. That's why they do it. This is why they can't give real advice to real people. This is why they have to lie to you, because only liars, cheaters, and scammers go forward in YouTube. Fast talkers, those who give you a disclaimer, those are the ones who get paid. Those are the ones who become rich off of YouTube. You see, they want you to believe that they're getting rich off of GME, that they're getting rich off of AMC, that they made money through crypto and through the stock market. The fact is that the only people who are making money are those pumping these stocks. And they're making that money off your backs. They're not making that money off of the market, off of their trades, off of their good decisions. They are getting rich off of you because you are paying them. And then they post videos trying to make it look like they've made that money through picking the right stocks. And the fact is that they've picked the right content. They picked the right content. And they're going to stick with that content because it is that content that pays them their bills. And so once they stop pumping GME, that's when they won't get the subscribers. They won't get the views. Once they stop pumping AMC, they won't get the subscribers. They won't get the views. This is why my channel doesn't grow. You think I'm going to change my content to improve my subscribers, my views? You think I'm going to change who I am? You think I'm going to bend over for a few $100s a month? I'm going to sell my soul? I'm going to pay for it by losing my wife like some have? You see, because there has to be a trade. And this is what people don't understand. There's always a trade-off. See, the devil is going to give you something, and then he's going to want something in return. People always accuse God of everything good that happens. But what they don't realize is that that is a trap. You might think it's God giving you something good. And then when you find that something in return is required for that good which came to you, you're going to open your eyes and then you're going to realize who it was that gave you what you believe God gave you. See, because when God gives you something, he gives it to you without expecting anything in return. And what he wants from us is that we can give to others without expecting anything in return. And when you scam people, when you cheat people, when you lie to people, and good things come to you, it's only a matter of time when the debtor comes to collect. And this is why you lost your wife. This is why you lost your family. This is why eventually you will lose your house and you will have to move into an apartment that you still could barely afford. Because you dug the hole, you made the bet, and then you gave God the credit while criticizing, disrespecting, making fun of those who are smaller, weaker, and less fortunate than you. Because what goes around comes around, people. Now, going back to Trey's trades. I know Trey doesn't watch my channel. I know a lot of people who are on YouTube don't watch my channel. I get a very small amount of people who come to my channel because YouTube doesn't promote me. The only way they're going to promote me is if I say GME is going to the moon, if I say AMC is going to the moon, if I start pumping stocks, which I'm never going to do. That's the only way I'm going to get foot traffic. And this is the reason why these people on YouTube do what they do. They will always do it. It doesn't matter that GME gets written off. It doesn't matter that AMC gets written off. They are always going to tell you that it's going to the moon and that it's going to the well, because that is what's paying their bills. So it's time, people, that if you haven't figured it out, to figure it out. That there are other ways to make money. There are other ways to make real money. And watching YouTubers tell you that you're going to become rich by watching them is nonsense. The only ones getting rich are those YouTubers telling you you're going to get rich because you're paying their bills. In the end, people, grow up and get your money.